Hey guys, and welcome to day 2 of Utah RemoteCon. We have some great panels in store for you right now. Before we get started, I do just want to, of course, promote our charity, the American Cancer Society. Yesterday, we were able to raise over $400 for the charity, bringing us to $1,785, which is absolutely huge. So thank you guys so much for your donations. We're going to have another raffle at the end of today's panel, so make sure to stick around for that. It's not too late to be able to enter in. You can go online to Give Butter. givebutter.com/Utah RemoteCon 2020, and we'll go ahead and put that on the screen here in a minute for you guys. But thank you so much. We really appreciate your support. And now we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Stephan, and Stephan, and he will be introducing our panelists for the What Do You Want to Know About Voice Acting, which I know nothing about. So here's Stephan.
Hey guys, I will be your host for this panel. My name is Stephan Watson, and before we kind of go and get everything going, let's definitely go and get everyone else in here. So let's see, next we have Toby from the Side Quest In panel. And then we have Zach from Stolen Droids, and we have Ray at the Ray. I love the Ray J. Okay.
Thanks.
I saw you come in with it and was just like, yes.
It's my rapper name, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, spit some beats.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
I don't know.
Let's
I don't think I'm ready.
go.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
That's the kind of thing you have to pay for, that level of content. Okay.
Exactly.
There we go.
Disappointing.
Right. So this will be a voice acting panel meant to go and make it where if you've ever had the questions about how do you get started in voice acting or what the experience is like, we're hoping to be able to kind of bring that to light for you all that are watching this panel. We're all different stages of our voice acting career, so it kind of gives us a real good spectrum. So the first things I want to go and do, like I said, we're going to introduce ourselves. So first, our social media platforms, and then maybe something that people can go and see your work. So with myself, you can find me at That Backflip Guy on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook too, even though I almost never use my Facebook. And then some things that you guys might have been able to hear me on are different mashed videos where I've played Aku Aku, some other ones as far as Rick and Morty with the Mailman, as well as Scary Terry, and quite a few different audio dramas. So I can kind of help you guys there. And then next, let's see. Let's go straight over here with Toby.
Hi, yeah, I'm Toby. Handle is at TSQI Toby. I perform with the Side Quest In podcast. We are an actual play for Pathfinder, so you can find some of my voices and work over there. Yeah. Did I miss anything?
Oh, that works.
I think you did it. I think you nailed it, man. One take. Very nice.
I don't have a rapper name, or I would throw it out. So
neither do I. There we go. And then let's go down and well, I guess this corner down over here. I can't do this with it. There we go.
I know it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. You gotta look at your background and decide. So if I want to point to Ray, I'm like, point to this wall, right? That's what I decide. So, hello everyone. My name is Zach. You can find me on Twitter at Sippy0. That's all the Sippy, zero the calories. Been voice acting professionally for not too long, honestly. But you can find me in some audio dramas. I've been working with Twisted Tunes, who is a roaming group of professional voice actors who go to different conventions and they kind of twist around your favorite TV shows, your favorite movies. So I've had the chance to work with some of the greats like Jennifer Hale, Jess Harnell, Rob Paulson, Maurice LaMarche, all completely lovely people in real life. So, yeah, that's me.
Perfect. All right. There we go. And then we've got Ray.
Ray. Hi, I'm Ray. You can find me on Twitter at the Ray J. I'm also one of the hosts of the It Was a Shit Show podcast. It's a movie pop culture podcast.
We can swear. This is gonna be a good podcast.
I guess it's too late. Sorry, I didn't censor
I know
myself.
we are where we are.
Some of my work, yeah, you can find my reel on my website, which is on Twitter, and then also I've done a few voices for the Channel 8 series on Explosum, and then also some podcast voices at the Exploress and Get Grim, another storytelling podcast. So yeah, that's me.
Perfect. See, and that's one of the reasons why I like with doing this particular panel. It's like you get everyone from that's had different experiences and whatnot, where some are a little bit more podcasting, other ones are, are all different avenues. So like I said, thank you guys for actually joining me on this panel.
Of course.
Yeah. I'm excited.
All right. So the first thing that I want to be able to go in and touch on is when it comes to voice acting, people usually know about cartoons and then they know about audiobooks, but voice acting has a ton of different avenues. So, some of the different avenues is, let's say, with animations, like we had kind of talked about. That's one good thing, and it's always fun to sit there and you get to do your little quirky voices every now and then, and you get to have your fun. Yeah, and you gotta do the lip thing.
We always talk out the sides of our mouth.
Yes, we
For
do.
every voice.
Every voice.
It's
can't
only
do
if
this
you're doing a Southern accent.
Yeah,
Not every single accent. If I'm going to be British, I'm over here.
So,
Everything.
so yeah, that's one of the ones that most people are actually familiar with. But with with the advancing of just like technology and things like that, you get other forms such as like podcasting. So that's where like Toby, I gotta remember my hands. That's where like Toby and Ray actually have like the strongest presence there. So when it comes to voice acting on these more podcasting or audio drama formats, like how has that experience been for you all?
Go ahead, Toby.
No, please go ahead.
So I basically became involved with a podcasting group called Lady Pod Squad, and that's where I met a lot of really cool female podcasters who were doing a lot of different genres and styles of podcasts. And I just sort of put it out there and said, hey, like I like to do, voice acting if anyone needs anything for their podcast. And luckily there are women out there who are making history podcasts and things where they need quotes read by people and storytelling podcasts. So yeah, just kind of having that community of women around me was really helpful in getting started. And then obviously you can sort of like find people on Twitter who are like, hey, I need voices for, this podcast that we're doing or this audio drama. So that's been a really great experience because it felt very supportive and very safe and very collaborative.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the collaborative piece. My experience is with tabletop role-playing games. So lots of different voices for different characters. The community in the podcast area is so helpful. I've had people reach out, similar to Ray, who said, hey, I need this character who's going to be in a dungeon. Can you record some lines? And being able to send that stuff over. I think with the tabletop world, you're 15 characters at once sometimes based on how the role playing is going. So it lets you flex that muscle.
Yeah. See, and that's something that most people aren't necessarily familiar with when it comes to voice acting. Like you're saying, with these tabletop forums or with these podcasting audio drama forums, it's something where you really have to have multiple voices and multiple comfortabilities over on one production. But what also goes with that is it's way more comfortable and way more kind of inviting in a sense, rather than, let's say, when it comes to audiobooks and commercials, it's very cut and dry.
Yeah, extremely.
Yeah, I think go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I've done a lot of commercials, and so a lot of the time you're gonna hear my voice is gonna sound like this because I'm advertising, and commercials might not be the most exciting part of the job, but damn, it pays pretty good.
And there you go. There you go. You know, so you know, you notice the way he changes his voice. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to sell something now. You know, or I can tell you all, if you've ever had someone where it's like, if you ever get mad at someone trying to sell someone diamonds and whatnot, I usually am the guy locally that sells you the diamonds that you want.
You're the chain company?
That's the one I'm not.
At the corner of State Street and 7200 South, open weekdays till 8, Saturday till 5, close Sunday, online at shenko.com.
What other diamonds are there? What other diamonds even are there in Utah? Come on.
Dale
diamond.
diamonds. There's a few.
They're all the same place.
I wish. But yeah, it's like for every form of voice acting comes different things that you have to be ready for. Some are very inviting and more collaborative. Other ones, it's very business-like, and you have to go in with that mentality. So those are definitely some things you want to kind of think of, as well as some you're going to have the different aspects of where your experience needs to be. You know, if you're thinking you want to do more quirky voices, maybe going into commercials isn't for you.
Commercials isn't for me.
Introducing the new Kia Soul. Ha ha ha.
I want to see that commercial. I want to see that commercial.
Yeah, Kia Soul might do it. I mean, for a long time, their mascot was a bunch of dancing hamsters.
Yeah, that sounds like a hamster voice.
Yeah.
You could pitch that.
I didn't see the lip though.
Nice to see you.
See,
The new Kia Soul. It's got hamster wheels in it.
It's hard
I love
to do.
you, Zach. I love
That's so hard to do and sound articulate.
Right. So yeah, like I said, you have to be ready for that. And what I will also say is, for anyone that's also looking to go and get into audiobooks, have patience. Okay? You're going. Just because you like to read and you like to read aloud doesn't mean that you're going to enjoy reading the book in this way, because you're going to read the same sentence or paragraph 98 times, and after a while you really kind of get frustrated with the way the person wrote the book. So
That's like the voiceover equivalent of running a marathon or doing an audiobook.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Commercials are sprints.
I've now done 3 different audiobooks, and one of them is actually close to being to coming out, and it was a philosophy book. I posted my entire trek of it over on Twitter, and I would go through days of just like, no one talks like this.
Did you start to
Philosophers
question?
talk like that.
Yeah.
They don't even talk. The amount of times I'd be like, and Aristotle once did this, and Aristotle didn't even talk this way. So it's a whole thing. But all in all, it's still an experience. It's still fun to go and do every now and then, you know. But yeah, it's like there are different forms of voice acting that usually people kind of sleep on. So
yeah,
always open yourself to those.
There's a couple more. There's a couple more forms of voice acting that we don't talk about that much.
Mm-hmm.
Promo work.
Mm-hmm.
And promo work is great. It's the golden handcuff, though, because they might need you at any time. That's the guy who's like, coming up next on Fox, right? So the guy, and that's all they do, right? And they're the voice that tells you what is going to happen. So promo work is a lot, but it's usually pretty lucrative, and you can consider yourself very blessed if you get a job like that. Another one is there's voiceover in movies, and I'm not talking about animated movies, but there's a lot of voiceover in movies that you're watching that you don't even realize. So when you watch a scene, when you're watching a movie and they're at like a party and it's so loud and everything is so much music and everything going on, while they're filming it, it's silent. The set is silent. The only thing you can hear is, let's say it's Toby and Ray and they're in a scene. The only thing you can hear on set is them talking to each other and they're acting like there's people around. So another group of voice actors are the people who go in later and pretend to be a crowd of people and fill in that background noise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
walla.
That walla walla.
Walla walla.
That and also like to go hand in hand with that ADR work, which I've now started to kind of have to do, which is kind of coming in later for, like, let's say the day was windy and, you know, and their actors were sitting there going, and all of a sudden you have to try to voice match someone. So yeah, that has been, it's been an experience. Also doing the dubs for like TNT and censored, you know, other things. So when they cuss, they need someone else to do something that cussing. Yeah. Yeah. The amount of times like, oh, the bullberries of you, you know.
I did not know that censor voice acting was a type of voice acting.
I didn't either.
Learn something new every day.
New to me.
Yep. It's still a good paycheck, I'll say that much.
A paycheck's a paycheck, it's a paycheck, it's a paycheck.
It is.
It's true.
Right. So, you know, when going with voice acting, the next thing that people usually start going towards, it's like, okay, well, you know, there's all that voice acting, but what kind of equipment am I going to go and get? And when it comes to voice acting, you know, you can be anywhere. You can start with just using a phone to having, you know, a good sound isolation booth, and, you know, and go from there. So we're going to kind of try to take only a couple of minutes to go and break that down. So first, when it comes over to microphones, it's the first thing that you're going to need when it comes to voice acting. You're going to have your cardioid microphones, your condenser microphones. You're going to have everything in between. You just have to focus on what your price point is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's before trying to go into specifics of like, oh, condensers, so I should, you know, get one that's up close. You know, get what your price point is. I've started out my voice acting career using my phone and have now graduated to, you know, my Shure SM7B.
Ooh.
You know,
That's a sexy
Hair flip.
microphone right there. Wow, look at that. Notice
it
the
is.
lip. Look at that, doing the jaw.
We're all-
Everything, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right here.
We're all
It's-
impressed because we know how much those cost.
Yeah. So that's like your top of the line. So if you're first getting into it,
Yeah.
if you can start off with a small loan of $1 million from your dad, then sure, go ahead and grab one of those mics. But if not, Stephan's totally right. Damn. I had it. Stephan's totally right. Start it on your phone.
I actually disagree. I think you shouldn't start with that mic. I think that starting with the cheaper mic,
never start with that mic. Yeah,
has you have to learn a lot more. You have to learn how to use a not as high quality mic.
You're absolutely right, Toby. And it's one of those where with a better microphone, it's going to basically what'll happen is, yes, your audio quality might sound better, but any mistakes that might be there, so if you're echoing in a room or whatnot, they show up 20 times more. So it's not about just having the most expensive, the best equipment. It's about knowing how to use the equipment and if you're ready for it. Because like where I'm recording right now in this kitchen, this would be the absolute most horrible microphone to use.
I think the one nice thing just about technology is that there are a lot of really good quality microphones that are fairly inexpensive. Like you'd be surprised. They're not really that cost prohibitive for the most part. Yeah, and I think a lot of people start out with like a Blue Yeti that's like a USB plug straight into your laptop. Like that's a good option. Yep, there you go for first starting out. You know, and then I think for me, like gear is a journey. Like you're not gonna, like Zach said, you don't get $1 million loan and then just like, oh, now I have a fully equipped studio. It's like, nope. You start out in your basement with like some foam on your walls and like a stand from Amazon, and then you figure it out from there, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and to give like a cheaper microphone that I usually try to go and tell people to go towards is an Audio-Technica AT2020.
Audio-Technica makes great mics. Yeah.
It's like, it's a really good microphone that it's a cardioid condenser microphone. So you need to kind of be a little bit closer to it. It's only usually about like anywhere from $70 to about $100. I prefer usually to tell people go XLR, which is, it has to be with a cable, you know, an actual like audio cable and whatnot, not a USB. But that's only because there are certain jobs out there that they specifically tell you like XLR, you know, and usually I want to get people familiar with the next set of equipment, which is usually your mixer, you know. So a good mixer, again, if you go out and you get the most expensive mixer, I usually would show my mixer right now, but it's in the car. But a good mixer is only going to be as good as how you can make it, how well you can use it.
What kind of mixer do you use?
So right now I'm using a Zoom Live Track L12, which
Ooh.
is a
You mean like that?
like that,
Ooh.
like that.
Very nice. Excellent.
I love it. I love it. So it's like I love that particular mixer. It does a lot of great features with it. It actually has an FX board built in if I want to be able to go and use that. But it also has a recorder inside. So just in case if I had to record something, but I don't have my computer in front of me, I only have my phone, I can still record what I have to be able to get and still have really great sound. But again, that's an expensive, that's a relatively expensive mixer.
Right.
So I wouldn't tell someone starting out, oh, go and get this.
You're probably going to start out with more of like a preamp, which is just, okay, let's get this XLR into your laptop or wherever you're recording and then have a volume knob. Super simple.
Yeah. And that's what I use. And so right back there, that print art of my glasses, that is actually my booth. I built that about a couple months ago. It's beautiful inside. It is beautiful. But that's what I have. So I've got a MacBook in there. The Rode NT2A microphone that comes into just like a little Focusrite Scarlett 2, as I believe what it's called. It's a great preamp, works really well.
Yeah.
And it was inexpensive.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the biggest takeaways when it comes to equipment. I always want to go and tell people it's not about spending the most money to be able to get the best equipment out there. It's that you need to get equipment that is good for your experience level, and you need to learn to use it. So you need to get on there, and I say just play with your microphone, play with your mixer, play with the sound, the software, play with everything, so that way you understand it. Never just go out, get everything, and then think that you're going to sound amazing. You need to learn how to make yourself sound the way you want to sound.
And if you have friends who have microphones, try out their gear, because I think sometimes people's voices sound better or different on different microphones. So if you can try a lot of different mics, do that and then see what sounds best with your voice.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback off that, I specifically got this microphone because usually I do things that are in a lower register. So I want something that can actually reach my vocal range and whatnot. And because most vocal work, at least that I usually get sent, is for a mid-range, my AT2020 is great for that. But then if I'm doing something low,
ooh.
So that one's just for you, Zach. It's just for you.
I want one.
That's amazing.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, wait, so the mic makes your voice sound like that? I gotta get one of those.
I know, that's amazing.
That's why people buy that mic, to sound just like that.
I like get closer to my mic and it's like,
Hi, baby.
See?
hold on a second.
Right. So yeah, it's like that's usually one of the biggest things that always comes over. It's like, what microphone should I get? And I always wind up going like, what are you planning on doing? What vocal range are you? And how much money do you have to spend?
Yep.
So there we go. I guess the next thing I kind of want to hit on, because I definitely want to make sure that there's enough room for questions. I can already see some of you guys in there, but I want to try to save most of those questions towards the end.
Hi, everybody watching.
Right.
Hello.
Wait, people are watching this?
Yeah,
Oh.
we're live.
Yeah. Go over to the comments tab.
Is my dad there? Did he? No, it's fine. It's cool. No, it's fine. It's fine. I just, I get it. He's busy. It's cool.
He's still disappointed in you, Zach.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's cool. It's whatever.
There's some good questions too.
Right.
There are some good questions. There are some great questions. Tracy says it's not the size of the microphone. Tracy, that's not true.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true, baby. Sorry. I'm going back to the private chat.
Yes, there is a private chat.
So
the next thing would kind of go into it. Like I said, when you start figuring what kind of voice acting you want to get into, you start figuring out the equipment that you want to go into. The next step usually is, I see a hello son, but the next step is usually coaching. So usually
sports.
right?
Sports.
I'm a gymnastics coach, so yeah.
You are. Is that what we're talking about, though, Stephan?
I mean, we could, if you guys want to know about, quite a few different gymnastics maneuvers, we can talk about that. But no, no, coaching, as far as just like any sort of skill or any sort of avenue, you have to usually be taught. So just because you might be able to talk in this range,
Or you might have a quirky voice you can do.
doesn't mean that you're gonna get a bunch of jobs. You need someone to actually teach you when to do those voices and how to do them in a way that actually will get you work and whatnot. So this particular point, I kind of want to talk a bit over to Zach and if Toby and Ray, if you guys have some experience when it comes to being coached with some of your voices, definitely go and lend in there. But have you guys had experience getting any vocal training?
So this is something I'm kind of excited about. I recently had a brief coaching session with Steve Bloom, who is incredibly talented. Some of the more recent stuff, he's Amon in Legend of Korra. He's just got that perfect gravelly voice. But did some coaching with him, and something that I learned is that I am not as good as I think I am. And that's a really good thing to learn as a voice actor, as somebody who wants to get in this industry. It's always good to stay humble like that and get coaching wherever you can, just wherever. And I had like some secret connections that allowed me to meet with Steve, which I'm very grateful for. And I know that not everybody has those chances. So what are things that you can do in order to coach yourself? Rod Paulson always says that it's voice acting, little v, big A. You need to first learn how to act before you can get into the booth and voice act.
So it's great. You can sound like this.
And it's great. You can pull out a Scottish accent, whatever you want, but it's way more important for you to be able to convey convocation and to say words correctly. It's way more important for you to convey emotion, for you to be able to
have your character that sounds like this. I make them sound sad. I make them sound happy. I make them sound mad.
Like, you need to be able to get those feelings across. And you also need to be able to do that voice consistently, right? That was something that I learned.
That's the hardest part.
It's way hard because sometimes I'll be doing a voice and I'll be doing this for a long time and just being Scottish, and then I'll somehow slip back into Zach and I won't even realize it.
Or some accent that doesn't make any sense. Like, what is that accent?
Talking like this, and they're like, weren't you? I don't think that's what you started with. Oh, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Talked about it like that. So you're definitely right, Ray. The consistency it can be hard, and it takes training. It takes practice. So I think the big three are commercials, video games, and animation for voiceover. Listen to the voices and kind of talk to yourself, copy them, or take your favorite book if you want to do audiobooks and read out loud for an hour, do some voices, join an improv group, take an acting class at some local college or something like that. There are a lot of inexpensive and, dare I say, free ways for you to become a better actor, which will make you more prepared once you get behind the mic and you're being paid for it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that
absolutely.
suggestion to take acting classes and improv classes is a great one, because even if you can't find a specific voiceover coach, there's always those other avenues that you can explore just to get better at the craft.
Yeah.
And network with other actors.
Huge!
And, they can help you out and bounce ideas. Most of my coaching, I guess I don't have a coach, but come from fellow actors or friends that will tell me I'm not as good as I think I am. So
yeah,
you need that.
It's always nice, huh?
Yeah.
Also, you want those people in your life, the people who tell you that you're not as good as you think, because you need to know that.
Yeah, especially any business in the entertainment business. Yeah. You know, you always kind of have to have that humble mentality, you know. But yeah, that's one of the great parts about getting coaching, is that they're going to help reinforce your strongest traits, and they're going to help you work on things that you actually need the most work with. Like for me, one of the things that I actually needed the most training for was
your
lip
voice
smacking.
was too sexy. Your voice was too damn sexy, and they're like,
Yeah.
look, people are gonna crash their cars if they hear you on the radio. You gotta dial it back.
The only thing I can say there is that my voice did drop when I was 9 years old. So when roll was being called in school, and it'd be like, okay, it's like they would just go through like Connor here, Stephanie here, Stephan here, huh?
Wait, hold on. There were no other kids with names that started with C through S in your school.
I mean, look,
That was my takeaway from the story. What happened to all the Davids and Deborahs?
I went to a very illustrious school. We only took people with S's. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Oh, man.
Wow. I can't believe this.
Right. Well, also kind of going in with this goes in with the acting portion, kind of what we're doing right now, just to kind of like being able to kind of talk and improv off of each other. That's actually very key in voice acting, because there are a lot of times, especially in animation work, that you're going to be asked to improv. You'll have your lines, but then all of a sudden the way that you're doing it, they'll go like, look, it's not quite hitting. Maybe be a little bit more conversational. So all of a sudden your casting director or whoever is going to be there with you, they'll start telling you, hey, let's just sort of have a conversation. And all of a sudden your character goes from this little weird description that they had on the page to now this fully fleshed, fully formed individual that now has its own life to it. So realize that yes, with voices, you have to be consistent, but you also have to make your voices have life to them. All right. Never just think that, oh, you're going to get the job because your voice matches. No, your voice needs to have life to it.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I learned from, I took some coaching from a local voice actor, Chris Miller here in Salt Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he taught me that I didn't really realize was all the other stuff you have to do along with the voice, right? Like you think you're just going to show up, read some lines in a voice, but it's like, no, how does that character scream? How do they cough? How do they sneeze? Okay, now you're falling. What does that sound like? Now you're in the mouth of a big monster. What does that sound? And it's like, what? Like you have to pay attention to what's happening in the scene and look at sort of some of the other effects and noises and things that character would make as you're acting that scene out. And so, yeah, it's just practicing all of that, right? It's not just reading the lines, it's understanding the full context of the scene.
Oh yeah, 100%. So that's where, like Zach had said before, the voice is a little V, the acting, making sure the emotions are there. That's the big A, and that's where the crux of all of this comes from. So
yeah,
especially in the podcast world, because there's not a cartoon or someone seeing some action. You have to convey everything with your voice so that people know they can visualize what's happening with that person, that character, the story.
Oh yeah.
So
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. That's definitely something that I would encourage everyone out there. I don't really care about your experience level. You're always going to need more practice when it comes to the acting. That part does not end. So yeah.
Isn't that great though? Isn't that great that like you never get to a point in your career where you're just like, well, I guess I'm perfect.
Yeah.
Because if you get to the point that you're perfect and you stop getting jobs, then that means nobody wants anything to do with you. Mm-hmm. But if you're at a point where you're not getting jobs and there's things you can do to improve, there's things you can do to be better, there's things that you can do to evolve with the industry, and then you can start getting jobs again.
Yeah. See, that's 100% it. And taking that from the actually like, okay, it's never getting to that, oh, well, I'm just perfect. I never want to go and do anything, because yes, you will lose jobs. And in losing jobs, one of the things is when it comes to that, like the auditioning part, the auditioning is what most of us should actually have a whole lot of. I have no idea what that was, but I'm just going to go right past it.
It's just auditions, man. You got to do it, but it's,
yeah, it's like that is how you're going to go and get the job. So, I will say I'll try to make this point really quick, and then I kind of want to go into like little stories of auditioning. But when it comes to auditioning, read the character descriptions, read the bios. Nothing is worse than reading the character description and then you go in, okay, I'm going to do this voice, and then they go like, oh, this is for a lighter voiced African American, and already it's like, well, you didn't get the job because you didn't read. All you looked at was maybe a picture. Always.
Oh, I'm very careful to make sure I'm not auditioning for an African American character. I am very, very careful.
It's probably for the best.
Believe you me.
Especially.
This character's right up my nose.
Nope.
And that's when I tag you on Twitter. I'm like, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this audition? You're perfect.
That actually does pick up a good point. Going in the voice acting community right now, it is trying to be more representative of other races and other sexual represented arenas and whatnot. So if you don't find yourself in those particular categories, I would highly discourage you, don't audition for that part. It's not to say that that there are parts that like, no, you absolutely cannot, but I'm going to tell you all, like, when they do say, oh, that this is a role for a person of color, really try to, like, if you're not a person of color, don't put your hat in there, only because if another production goes on and then they saw that you put your name inside there, they might not call you next time. So yeah, like, that's another thing to go and pay attention to in voice acting. But like I said, I kind of want to go really brief on that. More auditioning experiences. Like, what's the experiences you guys have had auditioning?
Most of my auditions have honestly been online. Someone posts a role and you just record a little snippet of yourself reading some lines, submit it. It's been through like fan sites or like voices.com. Or just sort of talking to people on Twitter and going like, hey, here's my reel. Like, if they have some kind of role open. And then I actually worked as an editor in film and television for about 12 years. And so a lot of the time I would just be like working in the edit bay and they'd be like, hey, we need a voice. Come like do some walla or like do something in here. And so a lot of the times it was just like I was there. And so I would do some random things. But I don't have a lot of actually formal auditioning experience. So I'm really curious what you two have to say about that. Zach and Stephan.
Zach, I'll go to you first.
So, especially right now, a lot of auditions are online and are remote. And one thing I'm going to say is when you send your audition out, make sure you read the instructions very, very clearly. Sometimes they want the files formatted a specific way. Sometimes they want you to slate. Sometimes they don't. Just read that stuff because you can lose jobs if you're not meeting their specifications. And when you submit the job, do not, under any circumstances, email them every single day afterwards, wondering when they're going to cast. Have they heard your thing yet? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And don't expect a rejection email either. Sometimes they get thousands and thousands of auditions, and it's too much to ask them to spare everyone's feelings and be able to send out and say, sorry, you didn't get the part, and this is why. Here are the things that you could work on. It would be amazing to get that kind of coaching from a casting director. But do that before you get into auditions. That's why you do coaching beforehand. I mean, some of the more fun experiences I've had auditioning, I recently auditioned for, I was going to say, some of them's got NDAs, which is a non-disclosure agreement, so I can't really talk about some of those things. But one of them was an audiobook that I auditioned for from a very successful video game voice actor, and he was just a delight. And we did get to have some back and forth. I had auditioned for such and such character. They said, you were really good. This is actually a character that we didn't post for. Can you tweak this voice a little bit? and give it for this character. And I did that read. He absolutely loved it, and I'll be in the book. And I'm very excited about that. Very, very excited.
Awesome.
And it's cool to look at it because there are some other big names in the industry that are going to be part of that. Some anime voice actors from certain quirky TV shows that I really like.
That's about all you
Is that too on the nose? Was that? No, but there's, I mean,
talking about.
but it was very, 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 very exciting. And then I'll give you another one. I auditioned for a video game that I saw. It was just on Twitter. I was really, really, really excited about it. And I got kind of like a callback. They wanted me to do another read for it. And I was like, oh, I've got this. They wouldn't ask me for a callback unless they're hurt. I didn't get it. I did not get it. They went on and they cast without it. Now, I had two choices at that point. The first was to dismantle my booth, destroy everything I've built, and never voice act again. And the other choice was to be bummed. It's okay to be bummed that you missed the job, and then look for another one.
Yeah, like I said, those are definitely, you know, like, oh God, I've had those same experiences and whatnot. And I also, again, I know which audiobook or which book you're talking about, and I cannot wait for that one. So yeah,
I'm very excited.
So we've got about 5 more minutes. I kind of want to take a little bit of time to be able to go and answer some of these questions that are inside the chat.
Well, I have a question for you guys, if that's okay, before we talk to the people who actually care, which is our audience.
Super quick.
Super duper quick. I mean, once you have like a management and agency team and they're looking for your auditions, that's great. But for a lot of us starting off, where do y'all find most of your auditions? Where can people look?
So again, to kind of to highlight what Ray had said before, I find a lot of stuff over on Twitter. I retweet a lot of the different things that I audition for, as well as every time I wind up going over to a convention, when there was conventions, there would usually be writers that I would talk to, that they would attend panels or maybe be on the panels. I would wind up talking with them, networking, and then sometimes just sort of the more you kind of put your name out over there, sometimes people will just send you things and whatnot, which happens to me as well, just by emails. So
networking.
Yeah, networking is a big one. I would say like there are also just some sites that you can go on. They're called pay to play. It's like voices.com, voice123. There's a fan one called castingcall.club, which you don't have to pay for. So those other two that I mentioned, like you do have to pay it's like a yearly subscription to submit auditions, which is kind of a bummer. But if you go to Casting Call Club, you can start auditioning for fan projects right away. And that's a good way to just get exposure and build, stuff for your reel. And then, Twitter, like Stephan said.
Right. Okay. So let me see. I'm going to try to go and get through some of these. I like one of these questions that is over through YouTube, Gamma Ray's channel. How many times does it take you to do retakes for a role on average? So like you're doing your part and whatnot, and then all of a sudden you got to redo a line. Like on average, about how many times do you guys have to go and do that? Because for me, I will do usually about 4 retakes on one single line, per script.
I don't get retakes doing the podcast role-playing world. It's one go and just live with what happens.
There you go. Something to think about if you're going to those platforms.
I think, I don't know. I would say like maybe 3 or 4. It depends on how comfortable you are with the voice and how comfortable you are with the character. And then also the director, like, I think there are some directors that are more hands-off. They're like, great, moving on. And then others that are like, really, they want you to get they have a very specific idea of what they want in mind. And you might have to do more retakes there.
Yeah.
Ditto.
I actually changed my answer. There was someone who wanted a voice, and I had to change it. I 3 or 4 times until it was in the area that they wanted. So I take back my answer.
There's no taking that back.
It's out there.
And then
this is one and done too.
Right. And then I'll try to go and get this one, the creepiest voice that we've ever done.
Mine was a little bit more like this. This is the creepiest voice I've ever done, and actually got paid for the work. I don't know. I didn't like what he had to say. It was weird. Still doing the mouth thing.
Mine is a voice that's on my reel. It's
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want me to pull the heads off of all of your dolls and put them on your other dolls?
it's like a creepy like doll voice.
Just gonna.
Yeah. Like creepy haunted little girl.
Love it.
I don't know the
too
creepiest
good.
voice. That was a great voice, though.
Right?
Oh, thanks.
What is my creepiest voice?
Probably something sinister.
I don't know. I haven't done a lot of creepy voices. I haven't had the chance to.
Now we know
Sorry.
what we need to do. There you go. All right. Well,
Hey, kids.
I gotta pull the timer on you here.
Why? What's going on?
By the way, Ray,
Why?
when you did that voice, your face looked just like Moaning Myrtle.
Yes.
Saying. It was
That's
like
what I was going for.
spot on. Well, thank you guys so much for all your expertise and answering so many questions. I'm sure a lot of the listeners and followers here definitely learned a lot. Getting to know what equipment to use, where to find gigs, how to actually act versus just doing the voice. And so there's a lot of huge takeaways, and so thank you guys so much for that. We do have our raffle, so if I can get a drum roll, please.
Wait, I was
Mr.
drum
Vic,
rolling.
you are the winner. Congratulations.
Oh,
Applause. I
You
have to
didn't
use my
need us.
roadcaster every chance I get, guys. So congratulations, Jennifer. You are the proud winner of a lovely piece of art from, I'm going to butcher this, but Frigon Emmy. And
that's a good voice acting tip. If you don't know how to pronounce something, ask the director.
Yep.
Job.
And then a shirt from Gypsy Sage Design. So
Woohoo.
you can find those wins over on our Facebook page and just message us to claim. So thank you so much. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys helping out and being a part of this and helping us raise money for the American Cancer Society. So thank you so much. And this has been such a great, amazing panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
all
letting
so
us
much.
have it.
And before we go really quick, if you guys just want to say where to find you guys on your Twitter feeds or Instagrams, whatever you got.
Oh wait, I'm trying to do the pointing thing. This is hard.
Where are you pointing at?
Oh, it is hard. I haven't tried it yet.
It's
I'm
way
too
up,
nervous.
right?
Yeah, it's always right there, right down
Here
there.
we
That's
go.
like my whole world is backwards. I'm at the Ray J.
I'm at
There you go.
TSQI Toby.
Thank you.
I'm at Sippy0, CIPPYZERO.
And I am at that backflip guy, all one word.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much again. Please stay tuned for our next panel, which starts in about 10 minutes here. It is pop culture and mental health. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
That's it.